Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Roaming Startup Show. I, of course, am your good friend, Professor Hans von Puppet. Today, Bob and Zach will be visiting with Day Martin about a fascinating new project called Stand Steady that she is funding on Indiegogo. Personally, I always stand at my desk. That is why I keep so fit. Let's watch.
All right, thanks everybody, and thanks Professor, and welcome to yet another episode of the Roaming Startup Show. Today with us is Day Martin and her project Stand Steady that she is currently funding on Indiegogo. Bob, this is our first Indiegogo project.
You're absolutely right, Zach. It isn't for lack of trying. As you know, we've tried to make contact a number of times with folks using the Indiegogo site and have had very little success.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and jump in it. Day, thanks for joining us, and tell us a little bit about your background.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I have a professional background. I've been doing data analytics and direct marketing for 10 years. And it was at my cubicle that I realized I had a problem with my cubicle. I was in a car accident earlier this year and started having back pain from sitting. And what I found online was that standing helps alleviate back pain. So I went online to buy a standing desk. I went where all of us go, Amazon. I was going to get shipped to me on Prime, and was actually shocked to see that the product that I thought I wanted to buy was not actually for sale. I wanted an inexpensive standing desk to just go on top of my work cubicle desk. And after a couple months, I built my own standing desk out of items I had at home, and it worked great. Did not look very professional in the office, though. So after a couple months, I decided to build the product that I had initially wanted to purchase. And that's where I came up with the idea for building the Stand Steady product.
Well, I've seen your Stand Steady product. It looks very cool, Day. I'm a big fan of the product. You mentioned that you were looking for something for your cubicle. I guess that's why you built it to be so mobile. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a desk topper. A lot of the things online, when you look online at standing desks, current products range from $400 to $1,600, and many of them require you to replace your existing desk. And replacing your existing desk may be what you want to do, but if you're in a cubicle, it's not an option. Or if you're at home and you like the desk you have, it may not be the best option for you. So I wanted something that could sit right on top of your desk, can easily move it every time they reassign us desks, which in many companies happens every 6 to 12 months, and something that it's going to look right in the office. It's not going to stand out as different or clashing with the modern office decor.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the video. That way we can get kind of a better idea of what exactly the Stand Steady is.
My name is Day Martin, and after a car accident left me with back pain, I became interested in standing desks. I went online to buy one and was surprised to see that they start at hundreds of dollars. So instead, I made my own out of things I had on hand. When colleagues started showing interest in my homemade desk, I realized there were others out there like me interested in an inexpensive standing desk solution. I spent several months working on designing and prototyping with my father-in-law, and then several more working with vendors, including American manufacturers, on specifications and pricing. And I am now so proud to present the Stand Steady. This desk is comfortable, affordable, and compatible with your current desk. Research shows there are numerous health benefits to standing while working. Check out the links below to read more about the benefits. I love working standing up. It keeps me moving and I don't get fidgety. It also makes collaborating with colleagues much easier. I've been able to share my prototypes with colleagues. Here are some of their comments.
I'm really excited about this product because I look around our workspace and people have reverted to using boxes and moving carts because the products on the market right now don't meet their needs.
I have a herniated disc from running, and my doctor's instructed me to use a standing desk. I've been using the standing desk now as a pilot. I absolutely love it.
Thanks for checking out the Stand Steady. With your support, we can make this project a success. And if you can't back it right now, please tell your friends and like us on Facebook. Take the next step toward a healthier lifestyle and pledge support for the Stand Steady. Thanks.
Awesome. Great video. How did you come up with your video?
I actually have a friend who's a filmmaker, Alex Houston. You can find him online. He's does a lot of really wonderful things, and he happened to make the video for me.
You chatted with a friend of yours, Alex. Has he done this kind of work before?
He's typically a documentary filmmaker, but he has actually done a Kickstarter project, the Nick Irons story, so he is familiar with how to do crowdfunding projects. And he was brilliant. He helped me with a lot of the scripting, and then did all of the filming and editing.
So you're our first Indiegogo campaign. What made you choose Indiegogo?
Well, that's an interesting question. I was less familiar with Indiegogo. My friends and family had all recommended doing Kickstarter. So I was actually going to do my project on Kickstarter. I thought it was a good fit for the Kickstarter brand, and I also saw similar projects on the site. And what I found out right before I was ready to launch was that my project was actually declined. It did not meet their requirements. And I can respect that it did not meet the requirements, but I actually am not sure why it didn't meet their requirements. So I would say, you know, a lesson for people is to know that whereas you may think that your project is a right fit for Kickstarter, it may actually not be a fit. Which is where I was so grateful that Indiegogo was another option. And I moved my site to Indiegogo. It was so easy to make it live through that site. The setup time was half that of setting up the site of Kickstarter, and I was able to go live with Indiegogo, and I've been very happy.
Dave, question for you. On the Kickstarter campaign that you tried to launch, did they give you any reason? I mean, what kind of communication was involved when they said, nope, we're not going to take it?
It was just a straight, form letter response saying that they appreciate my interest, and this was no reflection on the quality of my project, but it simply did not meet their guidelines, and there was no further information about what guidelines it did not meet. I did submit a request for them to reconsider, and they responded again that it did not meet their guidelines. This was the week after Thanksgiving, so you know there may be a certain amount of they were busy and had a lot on their plate, and maybe during a different week they would have given me more information.
Well, I know there's been projects similar to yours that have been funded or have been accepted, so I'm wondering the same thing. It seemed very arbitrary that your project wasn't accepted.
Yeah, and I've only done one project, so it's hard for me to know. I just don't have any other data points of experience.
So you had to go Indiegogo route, and you said it seemed to be very seamless and flawless. Tell us a little bit more about your experience and your thoughts on Indiegogo.
I like Indiegogo. One of the things it was easier to set up in the sense that with Kickstarter, you go through Amazon payments, and that takes a couple days to be confirmed. With Indiegogo, you actually go through PayPal, and they were able to set that up immediately. There also with Indiegogo is no approval process. So I knew that when I went with them, I wouldn't have the same problem that I did have with Kickstarter. So those were two real benefits. One thing that was trickier for me with Indiegogo is your images have to be hosted, and I wasn't exactly sure how to host my images. Luckily, I have friends and family who could easily host them for me, so that made that a little bit trickier. But there's two real downsides I've seen so far to Indiegogo. The first one is that it is not supported. It does not support the IE8 platform, and at my work we use IE8, and so when I look at it at work and when I share it with all of my colleagues, they won't see the video and they won't see any of the images. The other downside is that it's not showing my project on the recent items.
Try to explain hosting, image hosting, because I'm actually unfamiliar with that as well you were.
Sorry. With Kickstarter, you could add an image. You simply click on the image on your computer, and it just pulls the image onto Kickstarter. With Indiegogo, you had to put in the URL of the image that you wanted to show on Indiegogo. And so it has to be hosted somewhere, and that's where I'm not technical, and I just wasn't sure how do I post images on the web.
How'd you solve that problem?
I have a very talented brother. He has his own startup company called storyboardthat.com. Fabulous. And he managed to host my images for me. He also helped me put them into the Indiegogo layout and correctly size them. Storyboardthat.com, it's fabulous. It allows you to do storyboarding for corporations. This allows you to have better iterations of ideas. You can really get out there what it is that you're planning on doing and how it's going to work. I like to do it to tell stories about my family. It's been very popular with education, letting students, especially foreign language students, play around with telling a story using their foreign language skills. It allows you to do what might look a lot like a comic book strip.
Oh, wow.
So you build out your 3 to 6 frames, and you put in he has pre-populated images, so like an office setting or a park setting, and you can pull in your stick figures, you can pull in your bubbles. It allows you to really think, well, this is how something is going to work, and show it to other people, and you can say, yes, this is how we think it's going to work or not. It allows you to really get an idea out there quickly and easily.
Tell us a little bit about where are you at right now in your funding process? Do you know what your percentage is, and how has your social media been helping you, or your social experience?
We're doing well. We are on our 3rd day of the campaign, and we already have over 25% of our funding goal achieved, which is about $900 on a $3,500 goal, so it's going well. I have been reaching out to people individually. I've put up information on LinkedIn, on Facebook, I'm working with Reddit, and so I'm still trying to figure out what are all the best social media avenues for this project. Just kind of been knocking them down as a...
From your funding, where's most of your funding come from? Is that friends and family, or is it those different platforms that you mentioned?
Initially, it's been friends and family. What I wanted to do was get some friends and family in first, and then go to the broader audience so that people could see that there was already traffic. So I started with the friends and family on the 1st day, and on the 3rd day of the campaign is where I've really started to go to the social media platforms.
Have you seen any success from that?
I think I have. It's hard to say it's hard to tell where people come from. I did get one person come in today with anonymous as their name, and their email address is one I don't recognize. So I don't know them, and I'm not sure where they came from.
You and I have communicated before via LinkedIn. For those that don't know, Funding the Dream is a group on LinkedIn based on crowdfunding, Kickstarter, etc. And I know you've done some posting there and some chatting about your project there. Has that kind of social media helped you?
I love that group that we're in on LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn groups are a really powerful way to meet with the right kind of people and get your message out there, but also to clarify your message. Because no one knows what your product should be more than the people who actually want to buy it.
Going back to your project, tell us a little bit more about the problem you're trying to solve. Like why the person who has their own desk or their own cubicle, why should they invest in your project? What are you doing for them?
Sure. Research shows that standing has numerous health benefits. And the two that I feel are most significant for me personally, and I also think the most clear for people to conceptualize, are the reduction in back pain and the burning extra calories. A lot of people out there do have back pain, and sitting can be very painful. Our bodies just weren't designed to sit all day, and standing for at least part of the day or majority of your day takes the pressure off of your back, and it's going to make you a lot more comfortable if you do have chronic back pain. And the other thing is it burns calories, which I think is pretty intuitive, that standing is going to burn more than sitting. And it's nice. You stand, it's comfortable, you don't get fidgety, and you move around. It's actually a lot easier to collaborate as well. If you can imagine, if I had 2 colleagues standing next to me and we were all looking at the screen, we'd all be as close as I am to the screen. Instead of we've all been at desks where three giant chairs try to crowd around one computer and you can't really see. The research also shows that sitting every day actually reduces your lifespan by 2 years, which to me, when I look at those studies, there's some links on my Indiegogo page. They're in well-known publications. I just find that result shocking, that we're doing something which no one really thinks of as bad or unhealthy and it's actually so detrimental to our health. So I think there's going to be a real revolution within the next 10 years that while standing may be seen as fairly new and unorthodox right now, I think 10 years from now we're going to be in a very different situation.
So get your stand steady and you'll live 2 years longer, right?
That's it. It's a bit shocking, but it really is detrimental to your health to sit all day. We just weren't designed to be so sedentary.
Standing all day, especially at the beginning, would be hard for some people to do if they'd never done it before. But one of the advantages of your product is it's not a permanent fixture. It's easy to migrate from a sitting position to a standing position and put yourself right back in a sitting position later in the day if you need a break. Can you talk a little bit about that? It's an ingenious concept.
It sure is. And a lot of people even have laptops. At work, a lot of people have the laptop and a monitor and the keyboard because they do want that more ergonomic, larger screen. And what they can easily do is leave their laptop and their docking station on their desk and move their monitor and their keyboard and mouse up to the standing desk. And then they're taking the materials that they already have and actually building 2 different desks. And it's very easy to just toggle between your monitor screen and your laptop screen. And that's another great way of using it. And then we really gain the best of both worlds because we all eat lunch at our desk, and you may not want to eat lunch standing at your desk.
So you have an idea here. How are you going to get it to the masses? Who's going to do the production? How are you going to be able to mass produce this once funded?
Sure. I have some American manufacturers that I'm working with, and I have a great company making the tops from North Carolina, and I have a company from New Jersey making the legs. And they were actually hit pretty hard by Sandy and closed for 2 weeks, but they are thankfully back online now. So they're making our parts. For the initial project, I will be receiving the parts, boxing them, and sending them. But when this goes more scale, I will be having a fulfillment center receive the parts and ship them out directly.
Did you specifically target American companies?
I was looking for American manufacturers. I think it's important for our economy. And I also think it's just nicer to work where we're dealing in the same time zones, or at least similar time zones.
How do you see yourself after the Indiegogo success, which at your current percentages, I feel very confident you're going to be successful. But afterwards, talk a little bit about your plans for production and for putting that product out there for the general public.
Yeah, after the successful Indiegogo launch, I'm planning on having this product available at my website, standsteady.com, available on Amazon, and I am looking at including it in Amazon Prime, and then also possibly through direct sales to large corporations, because there are a lot of companies that would want to buy several hundred of these at a shot to sell to provide to their employees, because this is actually an employee health issue.
I own a company and we employ 50 people. I had not considered the fact that this is a great benefit to offer our employees, but it's a great idea.
Talk to us a little bit about your rewards. It looks like you have 3 major rewards, and tell us a little bit about that.
So rewards was something I thought a lot about. I thought, well, how do I, because on Kickstarter they do really encourage you to have a lot of rewards at a lot of different levels. And what I felt was that my project is different from things that are like making a movie or doing a video game. I have a product that people can receive. So I pretty much have 2 different levels. There's the $1 supporter, which is wonderful. Those are people who are just saying, we're behind you, and they're supporting me at the $1 level. And then there's the levels where you actually receive a standing desk. And then they receive the standing desk. There's early bird pricing, and after the early bird stock is gone, then it's the regular pricing.
Have you thought about any kind of stretch goals?
My funding goal is only $3,500, and I think that may be part of the answer. In a lot of projects, they do say there'll be enhanced benefits if they do reach a stretch goal. My funding level is pretty low. The minimum orders that I'll be placing are significantly higher than what I'll be hitting with this Indiegogo. So it's not a case where I can say I'm going to offer 20 different colors. I need this amount just to be able to get close. Well, not even, just to be able to feel comfortable placing those initial minimum orders.
What made you land on the 3,500?
The 3,500 is about 50 desks, and I just felt it was a good proof of concept number. My initial orders are going to be significantly higher, and if I do sell significantly more than 50, which I'm hoping to, that'll just allow me to place even larger initial orders for the product.
If you can find 50 out there in this audience through Amazon and corporate sales, obviously quite a few more.
And what's so nice about this is the product will be, I really feel like it's a viral product. When someone has one of these in the office, it's not subtle if someone's standing. So they're going to say, wow, that's really neat. Where did you get that? And it will be, well, I got this from Stand Steady. And it's available online and it's available on Amazon. That's also a big part of why I wanted to do the crowdfunding to begin with, to get those out there to drive the initial interest.
So what made you decide to do crowdfunding instead of the typical funding mechanisms like banks and loans?
I just thought it'd be a great way of getting out there with just getting an initial order together, getting friends and family and also a wider audience to sign up, to see the product, to buy into it, to see how much the interest was. Because if I had done loans, how large should my initial order be? You know, there'd be a lot of going back and forth. And this really gives me an idea of what's the level of interest in the product. So that's why I decided to do the crowdfunding. And then also it has the benefit of the viral aspect of getting it into different people's offices.
Have you had any response from media, or have you contacted media concerning getting your news, your message out there?
I haven't made a lot of media contacts. But it is something that I'm planning to do a lot more of. I'm really excited to be doing this interview with you guys, and I'm going to be talking to some other bloggers.
That's great. We've attempted before to do some Indiegogo interviews with folks, and we've had a lot of resistance to get communication out there simply because Indiegogo, in order to contact someone who is developing a project, you have to be a backer of the project or you can't contact them, unlike on Kickstarter, you can. So it makes it tougher to help support folks this way.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm actually, based on that, going to be changing my project to say, if you have any questions, please contact me directly, because I don't want someone to feel uncomfortable supporting me, not being sure if this is what they want or not. I think it's a wonderful product. I stand behind it, and I'm happy to answer any question that someone has before they place an order.
If you had a chance to give our viewers one tip or trick that you think is vital to this whole process, what would that be?
The one thing which I would not have realized on my own, and I'm lucky that I was tipped off on this, about this, is letting your friends and family know before the project goes live. I had initially been thinking I would let everyone know once it had gone live, but I'd read that it's actually important to get your support all in place before. And I did contact about 100 friends and family, got a lot of positive feedback back, and some people didn't write anything back. And then when I went live, I was able to quickly send an email saying, hey, it's live. I didn't have to do a large discussion about what is crowdfunding, what is standing, why would you be interested in that. Another tip I got from someone is they said you need 1 month of planning for every $10,000 you're looking to raise. So to me, those were the biggest lessons learned. And I would really encourage anyone who's thinking about it to really dig into Indiegogo and Kickstarter. It's a tremendously fun process. You learn a lot about crowdfunding, social media. You learn a lot about your own product because you have to really talk about what it is. And you really engage your network, which is a lot of fun too.
Day, let me ask you, as you went through this process, putting this together, what kind of knowledge base did you tap about how to use crowdfunding? If you ask the typical person on the street, I'm not sure the average guy or gal knows what crowdfunding is. So how did you get yourself educated?
I backed projects on both sites, and I joined that LinkedIn group that we were referring to, really just trying to tap into people who have done this before. They're your best source. Another recommendation I received from someone was to look for Kickstarter or Indiegogo projects that were happening in my local area and seeing if I could meet up with someone for coffee. And I think that's a great suggestion. People are always out there to help you. I think we're all really excited about building new companies, building the dream, building the American economy, and people are out there and they're willing to give you advice and help get your company started.
Day, we want to thank you very much for spending time with us today. How can our viewers find you out there?
We are on Indiegogo.com. Just search for Standing Desk or Stand Steady. We also have a website, standsteady.com, and we are up on Facebook at Stand Steady.
Well, again, Day, thank you so much. Zach, thanks for being on the show again, as always. And
thanks, guys.
Everybody, you take care, Day, and the best of luck on your project.
Great, thank you.
Oh, well, that was fun, listening to Day talk about her project. Thank you for joining us, boys and girls. If you want to help the fellas with their show, please sign up for their VIP list. That way, they can send you their free guide on how to crowdfund your project. Tune in next week as we learn more about how to reach your dreams with crowdfunding. Till then, remember, keep dreaming and don't get tied down with any strings.